demand stabilizing, relative to what we've seen, especially over the last year. And China, I think that's an uptick. So that is important just in terms of the car business and even margins upticking. But the reality is, me and you've talked about many times, like this is gonna be a golden chapter for Tesla in terms of autonomous and robotics, the AI roadmap. That's why you own the stock. That's why I think this thing ultimately is a double, over the next 12 to 18 months. As it plays out, robotaxi scales and autonomous, it's going to be the best, ultimately when it comes to consumer, best application out there.
Okay, Dan, break this down for me, explain this to me. How do they make money from autonomous? Because right now they own all the robotaxis, right? So they're making whatever small service revenue there is from those cars. But then ultimately, what does that profitability picture look like? And again, when can investors expect it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, and obviously when, right? Like that's the big question. Look, I think first, if you focus just on 1 year out, from Nvidia to Microsoft to Apple, I mean, we go to every tech company out there. I think you've missed that transformational move, right? For Tesla, you gotta look out 2 or 3 years, and ultimately, look, it's can you get to 500,000, a million vehicles out there? That essentially, it's going to be a cyber cab. It's going to be a robo taxi network,
Right, but
and
but
this
do
is
they
something.
do they own that network, or does someone else own that network? And like, what's the profitability of that network? Because a robotaxi, at least it's my understanding, is not a cheap thing to run, right?
Mhm. Look, they're going to own that network. I mean, like, right, it speaks to what I view as probably the biggest competitive threat to an Uber. If you look out over the years, what Tesla's going to do here. And remember, there's going to be their own network. And then if me or you, if we have a Tesla and we're at work, we could ultimately put that Tesla into the network. So while we're at work, it's actually giving rides out, right? And then ultimately, that speaks to the broader effect that's going to happen here is that this is laying out what's going to be this biggest chapter of growth ever. So you can look at over the next 1, 2 years what earnings looks like. I could argue there could be growth power 12, 15, $20 earnings when you look out. And that's why I think this is a stock that should be green today, not red.
There's a lot that has to go right between now and then. The other thing that has to go right is the Optimus robots, which Musk talks about. But again, like, who's the customers for these robots? I've talked to robot people who say the real applications are not going to be in humanoid robots at all. They'll be in other functional robots.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think first on the factory side, that's clearly going to be an application when it comes to on the robotic side.